What is going on, everybody? Ryan, Larry, William, Tim Cup here. We are back with another episode of The Barf. William, we had a break for a week. You feeling refreshed?
I am feeling refreshed. How about you? How are you doing?
I'm good. You know, I spent the last say 4 days on the water fishing, which is good. I cannot complain. It was good. It was good. A little rough. We had a lot of wind, which I'm not a huge fan of. We had most days, I think we're about 16 miles an hour on so white caps everywhere.
I still can't believe that you'll go that slow on a lake. It's fascinating.
Oh no, this is open lake. This is open. That's in PA. We
Okay.
were in. Yeah, we have. So what William's talking about is we've got a 20 horsepower limit, and yeah, so you don't get. Well, my boat doesn't get very fast. I get about 20 to 23 miles an hour. Some
Right.
boats do because
But,
they're smaller,
right.
lighter.
On Lake George, it's open?
Yeah, no, it's open. So you're doing as fast as you can go. But white caps, it was windy, rainy, cold, but we had a good time. So, what'd you do this weekend? Anything big?
No. No, the kid's Van's out of school. He's getting ready to go to Sea Base next week, which is a Boy Scout high adventure camp. It's down in the Keys. And so they yacht. They learn how to sail, and then they live on the boat a whole bit. And so it kind of looks like a vacation. So,
Yeah,
so
he's not running up a mountain with 70 pounds. I did
no,
notice your shirt. The next
yeah,
time you wear that shirt, you need to let me know, and I'll wear a Colt 45.
oh, I actually had it on. He had his swim test last night, and I had it on at a Boy Scout event, and
You had
only
a swim
one.
test?
No, Van did.
Wow.
They do it every year. Scouts do. You have to do a swim test every year. Anyhow, so I had this shirt on last night at the scouting event. I just didn't even think about it. And one guy goes, "You still drinking it?" I said, "No, that was just a throwback." Only one person said anything.
In
So,
fact, I had one on the way over. All right,
oh,
all right, we got a lot of stuff to talk about
let's
today,
go.
and
What do you got?
and we got a special guest today. Bring in Nick from Candid Tech. What is up, Nick?
What's up? Thanks for having me back. And Will,
Yeah,
thanks for
yeah,
joining this
yeah.
time.
Yeah, with William this time. Yeah, we had
Yeah,
Nick
yeah,
on a few weeks ago, and we were talking through some stuff, and William just bailed on us and was like,
yeah.
"Nick's boring. I'm out. I'm done."
It
That was it.
happens.
Five
Yeah,
seconds. But
it happens.
it
It
happens.
happens. It happens to the best of us.
All right, so Nick, you've never been on a full episode before. You've done segments. You haven't done a full
Yeah.
episode, so this is new for you. So
I'm excited.
here's the deal. We've got a handful of stories that caught our attention this week. We're going to talk about them, but you got to give us your feedback on them. And if we don't agree with it,
Yeah,
William may not be very nice.
that's right.
I'm
I'm just gonna
nice.
leave. Yeah.
I'm nice.
Yeah, I'm used to
William,
it. It's fine. It's all
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Good.
William will just hang up on you. So, all right, William, kick us off. What do you got?
Well, the first story is yours.
Oh, it is
So
mine. Okay, well, let's do it. So, all right, so
I just kicked off.
there we go. They kicked me off. There we go. All right. So I'm going to mispronounce this. Experis. It's a Manpower brand. They rebrand it around the term human ingenuity.
Hmm.
So they're the tech staffing arm of Manpower. And so, what was interesting about this? I'll give you the crux of the story, and then we can kind of dig into this thing. So, staffing is changing overall, right? We know that over the last couple of years, staffing has changes. They've been getting squeezed for years, and now with AI, with automation, direct sourcing is kind of taking a back seat. Marketplaces and William, you and I talk about this all the time. Margins are like
They were thin
they
to
were,
begin with.
yeah, and they're really slim now. But the challenge is how does and this is what the article was about, how does a tech staffing firm, whether it's large or small, position themselves in a unique way? And how do they do that? And so Experis chose skills, not talent pools. And so we know
Hmm.
historically we've talked about talent pools in recruiting, and for the most part, I mean, if we're just being honest with each other, we just dropped 85 resumes into a folder and said we got a talent pool,
Yeah, yeah,
and that's just how it was. Um, but now they've moved to skills, and so what they're building is a like a whole brand around what they're calling the human ingenuity, and so they take all the pre-vetted skills and they put them into assessments and all of this stuff. They put these candidates into teams or into pools that they can then staff at companies. And so when I say staff at companies, it's different than traditional staffing because they're actually providing that tech. Right. So the tech is in the company. These are people that are now able to go into the company and actually implement all of the AI tech and all of the things that they're passing through. Which is a little different than a lot of these other staffing companies. They're still playing in 2012.
Yeah, I think two things come to mind. First of all, I think ChatGPT was used to create the human ingenuity bit. So my gut tells me that AI was actually help them through this process.
And it
Maybe
should.
not ish. I think really they have to kind of bake, they have to base their model on skills because that's what they have to offer. What companies really want is that skills are table stakes. You've got to have the skills enough to get into the company to do the job, but really what they want are people that are flexible
Yeah.
and people that are highly adaptable, that can deal with ambiguity, all of that stuff. And that's hard to measure,
Mm-hmm.
harder to measure than it is to do a skills assessment, a technical skills assessment. So, first of all, they're moving in the right direction for sure. It's in an AI world, it's these things are going to have half-lives. So those
Yeah.
skills that one kind of has and you can test on once they get on the ground, those skills are going to have to evolve.
I agree, and I actually think directionally this is correct. And yesterday, or even yesterday, I posted on LinkedIn. I think I ruffled some feathers because I said that right now, as a resume, if a resume is the only tool that you have to try to get a new job, if you've been impacted by layoffs right now, this is the worst time in human history to just have a resume to try and secure a
Right.
role. Because
Right.
if every candidate is using AI to create the resume, then it's going into an AI system that you end up looking the same, which is what I hear all the time from our customers. It's like they all cancel each other out. So I
Yeah.
think when you get an indication of the skills someone has, then you can start making more objective decisions. I do agree with you, Will, that the ability to adapt and to move quick will be one of the most desirable skills that candidates will have, just because of the rapid
Right.
pace of how things are changing. There's ways to do that, but I think the evolution of assessing for adaptability will be really interesting to monitor.
I love that.
Yeah. All right.
So let me read y'all a story from the Economic Times. A top performing employee was suspended for violating the company dress code by wearing jeans. 2 weeks later, management was scrambling to get him back because they discovered how critical he was to the operation. So the question for both of you is, how many top performers have we pissed off because we were too busy winning policy battles instead of business battles?
He
Brian?
got dress coded. That's what this
Got dressed.
is. He got dress coded. No spaghetti straps, no jeans. I
No,
mean, read the
no,
handbook, people. Let's look. That's a stupid. I mean, look. When you get on an airplane, I say when I get on an airplane, I should say, I'm wearing shorts and a hoodie. We're no longer wearing slacks and blazers. Some people are. Some people are, and I can remember very vividly. This is probably 2008 ish, 2007. I sat next to a guy who was wearing slacks and a blazer, the whole
yeah,
bit, and I'm wearing my shorts and a hoodie, similar to right now. And we had a discussion about it. And he asked, "Why do I not get dressed on a plane?" And I said, why would I? Like,
yeah.
I want to be comfortable.
It's a
Sa-
cab.
yeah, same thing with work. Like, I
Yeah.
don't need to wear a suit and tie to work. Now, I did have a job previous that required you to wear button ups and a tie, white or blue. Like, they were very, very specific. So I understand that. But here's the deal: if you, as an employee, if you chose the job, follow the rules.
Mm.
However, on the employer side, it's time to change.
I don't know if top talent follows the rules. That's where I struggle, Ryan. Yeah, it makes sense because logically it's like you accepted a job, you signed the employee handbook, blah blah blah. But I don't think high performers or high potentials. I think if they look at that shit and then just go, yeah, I'm going to do what I think is best.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then they just go and do their shit. And they've forgotten about the employee handbook the moment that they read it, or excuse me, the moment that they signed it. They didn't read it. But I know what you're saying because it's like if you're going to if you've set yourself up, if you've said yes to the whole thing. And I just don't know if high performers work that way.
I agree. And just like you, Ryan, I used to work in a role where I had to wear a suit and tie every day for about 10 years. And I worked close to Google's office in London, and I'd see all these people coming out of this office in t-shirts and jeans. You'd see Mark Zuckerberg in t-shirts and jeans. I just wondered, why are we going to this office wearing this when you can clearly be highly productive wearing casual clothes? And since then, I made a decision at that point to leave that position. I got into a different company where it was more casual, and now my general thesis is let people dress how they want to dress. I have no issues with things like tattoos, piercings, any of that. But there's obviously excuse me, there's some context where
Yeah.
maybe my view would change slightly. So if you're going to a customer facing interaction where they are a different dress code to you,
It's an
then
investment bank. Yeah.
exactly. So in that situation, I can understand it. But if you're just turning up to an office to sit in the office, you're not customer facing, you're just interacting with your colleagues, I don't see how wearing jeans could have any impact on someone's ability to.
A dear friend of mine in business school who's passed away, he loved wearing suits. Like that was his bit. Like he looked good. First of all, he looked great in them. He could wear a double-breasted suit. So he's kind of lean. Like he looked great in suits and he loved wearing suits. So he wore suits to school,
Yeah.
like to class. And I'm like, dude, you're a little dressed up for like
I
this.
feel judged by these people. I was just like, hey.
I've had that when you were talking about having a discussion with somebody that was in a suit. I'm like, they're looking down at you, right?
Oh, absolutely they are. They're like, sir, why are you not wearing? Like,
Piss hands.
yeah.
I was just saying that scene from Step Brothers where they turn up in the
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're definitely judging you. I don't know if they're looking
and my
down.
thought is like, I'm literally sitting next to you, right, in business
Got the
class.
same
like,
ticket. Got the same ticket, homie.
Yeah, like they didn't treat you any better because you're wearing a fucking Jeff cap. Whatever. All right. So Workday, I got a story about Workday here. They recently dropped their earnings for the quarter, and I want to throw this number. I'm not going to go through the whole story because I want to just talk about this.
Right.
So Workday AI-powered recruiting tools supported more than 14 million hiring processes or touch points
Yeah.
in the quarter.
That was largely due to, not really. That's largely due to Paradox. As Paradox does high end, does high volume.
That's still a lot of touch points.
I mean, again, think about if you're hiring for Walmart, you're hiring, 200,000 people, and you touch them 12 different times during the process. It adds up.
Oh, absolutely. No, absolutely it does. And that's what I'm saying. I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think that number is overblown.
No,
I think
it's a great thing.
I think that's an indicator of we're where we thought we were going to be in 4 years. I think we're there now.
Oh yeah.
I think we're here now. It's moved. I think it does have, and I'll put a few things that kind of went through my mind as I'm reading this, because I mean, if I'm looking at companies that are actively like leading this way, I'm like, so you got what? Workday, you've got SAP, SuccessFactors, Oracle, Eightfold, Phenom, who's I guess Smart Recruiters.
Part of SuccessFactors.
Yeah, I'm missing a bunch there. But a couple things that came to my mind, and I know you guys are going to have thoughts on this. Does AI help recruiters spend more time with candidates? Yet, I know it will, or that's the goal. Does it improve the quality of hire? And does it reduce bias? Does it help us make better hiring decisions? These are like the things that kind of came to my mind because I feel like we can answer these pretty simply. I think most people thought this is what would happen in a couple of years. And I think we're getting there quicker than we thought
Nick,
we were.
why don't you take a whack at it first?
Yeah, I think that there's definitely instances where recruiters using AI are now spending more time with the right candidates. and less time bogged down in admin, sifting through hundreds of applications that are coming through. Yet, I also think that the AI they're deploying has to be the right AI, because if you're just using AI to read through an AI resume that's matched to an AI job description, then there's AI that's ranking those keywords. Really, it all just becomes null and void because it's all cancelling each other out. But if they're implementing the right AI, then yes, I do think that recruiters are spending more time with the right candidates, and more importantly, actually, well, maybe not more importantly, but equally importantly, hiring managers are spending less time with the wrong candidates as well, because it all comes down through the funnel. In terms of, is it making the process more bias free? I think it depends, and I think probably what we'll see happening more is companies wanting to understand how these models have been trained. And right now, most of these tools say the human has the final say, and that's how they've been deployed. But if you look through things like the EU Act, which is the EU AI Act, which is coming out soon, they're saying that won't stand as that final. You won't be able to just rely on that as your defense mechanism. So for that reason, I think they'll want to see how these models are trained to make sure there is no inherent bias, because there's been examples of AI taking on bias from the training data. So we'll see how that plays out over time.
Do recruiters want to be that final decision?
I think they
really
do.
the hiring manager is the final decision. Yeah.
I think probably it's maybe. I don't think it matters really if it's the recruiter or the hiring manager to an extent. I think it's got to be a human. It should always be a human in a hiring process, because these are people hiring people. So I personally, if it was me, if I was interviewing for a role and I was told that AI is taking all of the decisions, I wouldn't be comfortable with that. There's so much nuance to a person. I don't think AI is anywhere near that point yet to be able to take those decisions. So, I'll always advocate humans first. We live in a crazy time, by the way, in human history where you have to explicitly say human, but that's where we're at.
I think for me, it's the three things that you bring up are all the important things. It's if are we just speeding up crap process? Is that what we're doing here? So on the process side, if the process is wrong and we're putting AI on top of it, we're just speeding up crap. Okay, so I got a problem with that. So if you redesign your process and then you lay AI on top of it, make it important, I think there's a value there. Check. As it relates to quality of hire, I don't think any 10 people have the same definition of what a quality hire is, or quality of hire. So if we were to line up 100 recruiters, we get at least 150 different definitions of quality hire.
Yeah.
So I think that until that's standardized, even within recruiters and hiring managers, because we've all done this long enough, recruiters will say, this is a quality, this is really, this slate of 5 candidates, this is all going to be quality. All of a sudden the hiring manager looks at it and says, I see no quality at all. So, okay, we got to figure that out. So quality of hire. And the last thing is, I think there's always going to be bias in hiring, whether or not it's human, whether or not it's AI, whether or not it's a combination of human and AI. There's always going to be some level of bias. It's like trying to get rid of pollution.
You can't. You're not getting rid of it.
Now, can you lessen it? Yes. Can you reduce it through training and other types of things, rewarding good behavior and de-incentivizing bad behavior or whatever? Get rid of bias? I just don't believe in that utopian idea that, oh yeah, we're just going to wake up one day and like, oh yeah, there's no bias in the system, either by AI or by humans. I think there's always going to be some level of bias.
But also, do you think there's good bias? For example, you could have a bias towards pedigree. So I think some of the subconscious bias humans have is things like university or the degree they've had or where someone's previously worked, or you could have a bias to ability. And I think if the bias shifted more in the direction of ability and skill rather than prior history, maybe that's the right change if there will always be bias in the process.
Right.
Probably that would be a good shift.
I think the thing is how you justify it. How do you justify your bias, and what is a bias if it's different than just something you like something that feels right, etc. Like I like this. I like the fact that this person, and again, not like me, but I like this objectively. I like the experience. I like the candidate, etc. Is that a bias or is that an opinion? If it's an opinion, I think you're okay. I think if you if you take your opinion and you say we want to hire from these 5 schools in the world, now I think you've created a bias. You've gone past opinion, and you've gotten into a bias, a legitimate hiring bias. And so I think it's how you justify things, and how you can actually talk to people about that. Like, I have a preference. Well, preference is different than bias, and they are distinct. But so you've got to be able to articulate your preference. And I don't think preferences are bad. I mean, we all prefer things. You prefer your house hot or cold? Do you prefer soup or salad? Like, there's
I'm biased to
preferences.
salad. See?
Yeah, I haven't seen you eat a salad. Anyhow, so like the thing is preference is okay if you can justify it, if you can talk openly about it.
Now,
It's
there
just
is a
when it
line,
blurs
of
the line.
course.
There is a line.
There's a line, right? That just
Right.
is socially accepted versus not accepted, right?
Right.
Race and all of that stuff.
Right.
But schools and skills I'm okay with that. I mean, a lot of law firms do that, right? They only want Harvard, they only want Yale, they only want
Is
Princeton.
as long as you can talk openly about people, and talk openly about that preference. You can't openly talk about bias. Like, I have a bias that skews towards only hiring females, or only hiring from Michigan State, or whatever the bid is. You can't do that, because that is literally a bias.
Yeah,
And
we did. I mean, years ago, we would recruit when we were doing pharmaceutical sales. I mean, it was known, it was
yeah,
told to us, it was explicitly told to us.
right,
We are going to recruit athletes, male,
right,
for this, and this is what we want. And it wasn't a question of what
yeah.
sport.
It was,
We knew
it
the
was,
sport, we knew the schools, and
it
this
was
is
absolutely illegal, but yes.
yeah. But this is what this was in, like, probably back in like '04, '05. Like, this is what we were told to do, and we did it as a young recruiter. I'm like, sure, this is what we do. I
Right.
thought we were just going out and sourcing these people because they were a great fit because
The
of dedication
the
and
the
scheduling
underlying
and all that
logic
stuff.
the underlying logic was right. They're competitive. They know what it takes to get up
Yeah,
early and work, and like, they've got a work ethic. If you're a D1 athlete in the U.S., you've got to have work ethic. Like,
yeah.
no one's going to give you a
Yeah.
scholarship to do that. So, like, the underlying stuff was good. How
Everything
they
else,
applied it, well, I mean, to exclude women.
yeah.
We only hired male. It's like,
Well, that was for
okay,
certain positions were male, certain were female, and it just depended on region
again,
and where it was, and it was very very specific,
yeah,
and
can't
it
do that.
was what we did. Yeah,
So let me give you a story here. You ready? A, no one said yes, but let's go. A
yeah, we're ready. Do
filmmaker
it.
sitting
We're
in a
ready.
coffee shop overheard a manager publicly fire an employee. Not in a conference room, not on Zoom, not privately, at a table in the middle of a coffee shop with customers all around. The manager reportedly handled over separation paperwork while strangers watched the whole thing unfold. This was on Newsweek. So this is not The Onion. In case people were wondering, this is actually a true story. So, what's the worst place you've ever seen a work conversation happen? Ryan, I'll start with you.
Worst
Worst place.
place I heard a work conversation happen.
Like, this is a
I
real
don't know.
story. I mean, you can see how this could be made up. Nope, go to
Yeah,
Newsweek.
no, I don't
It's a
think
real
I've
story.
ever heard. Yeah, like, I don't really have a story. I mean, I know. I mean, I was embarrassed once by my manager, but that was my fault because I was being a young whippersnapper. You know, I came in, I was late. My shirt, I literally, this is God's honest truth. I had to iron my shirt to get, put it on. It was wrinkled, and I
Yeah,
was late. And he asked me why I was late, and I told him, wasn't being a smartass. I said I had to iron my shirt, and that wasn't good. And he let me have it. It was in the lobby. Employees were there. Customers were there. I didn't get fired, but I learned right away. Okay, don't joke at work. But I wasn't joking. Like, I legitimately had to iron my shirt.
yeah.
But I never heard
That's
anyone
also an
get
indicator
fired.
of a bad manager, because it's public. Most people know that it's public praise and private criticism.
Yeah, sure.
So,
Yeah. But
yeah, but
I've
you
never
don't do
been
that
in
in front
that
of them.
lucky enough to be in that situation where I've seen something unfold that don't flip your phone out moments. I
Yes,
never had that. Yeah.
Nick, what do you got?
It didn't happen to me personally, but I've heard this from a a close friend of mine.
I love
That
stories like this that start with, I have a
this is
friend. I have a friend.
So this happened quite recently. So the executive team of a company went to me to discuss their strategy and make some plans. And for some reason, the CEO liked to have Gemini recording a transcript of the call so he could document everything afterwards. So he created a Google Meet link and had it in his calendar. At the same time as that meeting, there was a company-wide stand-up that was supposed to happen. And
Oh,
he believed,
you're not going to the stand up.
he believed it had been cancelled. But it was still in the calendar, but everyone had been told, don't worry about attending. So he opened up the wrong link. They had the meeting where they discussed lots of private things that would affect a lot of people in the business. They ended that meeting, and the second you end a call that has Gemini on it, it sends the full transcript and summary to everyone who was supposed to be on that call. So the whole company saw very confidential subjects that were discussed, and I think that's probably the worst forum for that to happen.
All right, guys, here we go. It is time for the wheel. We got
Bring out the wheel.
I updated the wheel, so it's a little more bland, but it just has dollar.
There's a dollar. A
There is
dollar.
a
Someone's
dollar.
going to win a dollar?
There is a dollar right there.
Dude, that's so
right there.
wrong. That's so wrong.
And it's caked in between a 150 and a 75.
All right.
So we're playing Andy Pitaluga. He's from CrowdStrike. We pulled his name out earlier.
Okay.
Andy Pitaluga from CrowdStrike. All right, we're going to spin this thing, the Candy Wheel from Candid Tech. Nick is with Candid Tech. Nick, tell us about Candid Tech before we spin the wheel. Give us the 15-second pitch.
We are a skills-based assessment platform. We'll help companies figure out who can do the job before they get the job.
There we go. You got 7 seconds left. Anything else?
Drops mics.
5 seconds, TLDR.
All right, here we go. Andy Pitaluga. We're going to spin it.
Don't be a
coming
dollar.
on a dollar,
Don't
baby.
be a dollar, please.
$1, baby. No, I'm kidding you.
I'm guessing 150.
Oh,
150.
there you go.
150.
150. I gave it
That's
a little
off.
pump. All right, 150. Andy Pitaluga.
Good for him.
CrowdStrike.
You can do something with 150. That's
you can
good.
do something. You can do
Yeah,
something
you
with
can do
150.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you can buy some things with 100. What else we got on there?
Yeah.
We've got I thought we had a 200 on there. No, well, we'll put a 200 on there. Should we do like a 500? Put like a 400.
I think getting rid of the dollar is an absolute must. that's
No, I
that's
think
almost
the dollar creates tension. I think you need to.
Yeah, it does.
it does create tension.
It's
does
like
create
it's
tension.
like
That's a
the
good
Wheel of
point.
Fortune, right? Like they put
Yeah.
the bankrupt in between the 2 millions.
Yeah, you're fair. I just wouldn't email them if they won $1. I would not. I would just act like it didn't happen. Like I'm not going to email you for $1. Sorry.
We'll
out
just
of
spin it again, buddy.
Now, do we have
All
some research?
Yeah. We got to research. So Nick, your first time on the show, you're bringing the research. What do we got?
All right, this is interesting. So this is a report from Gartner that came out in the last week. The headline, TLDR, is that, no surprise, AI is going to break down millions of careers. This is what one of their analysts said. They surveyed over 110 HR leaders. What's interesting, though, is they've said that AI is actually going to create more jobs than it replaces, but what it will replace is the lower-level junior positions. And the report, to summarize, is really saying if there's no more junior people in roles because AI has replaced those tasks, the natural evolution usually is that the seniors train the juniors. But if the juniors don't exist, who will the senior people be 10 years from now?
Right.
And it goes on to talk about how skills, similar to what you were sharing earlier in the first story, will become the biggest indication. But I'd love to hear from you what you think of this evolution in how jobs are going to shift, where you won't have the junior people cutting their teeth, getting their initial experience, and being taught by the more senior people.
So a little while back, William, you might remember we talked about a story where there were the kids coming out of college and high school weren't able to get entry-level roles because the mid-level, like the 3 to 5 year employees, were out of work and needed roles. And so they came down and took entry-level roles because they have bills to pay. Therefore, the entering workforce wasn't able to actually get these jobs. And so that's really interesting on the report. And here's what I'd say. I think entry level doesn't go away. I think entry level evolves into whatever that first step is after AI has done what was previously the entry level role, and
Right.
everybody has to evolve and skill up and shift up a little bit to cover that. And I think in that, you think it was it 10 years or something like that.
Yeah.
So in that time frame, is it enough time to? I think it's more than enough time to upskill what we need, because at that point, I'm guessing the boomers who are still hanging on, they're either going to be dead or they're really going to actually be retired, right? I mean,
It, it depends on there's two things that are kind of comes to mind. One is the economy.
yeah,
And if we were in a booming economy, we would redefine the word entry level to basically mean we need you to manage
yeah,
AI. So manage AI, and then now the other middle level people are managing people that manage AI and going through that. But because you've got a kind of a struggling economy, it's easy to fire that first layer and then replace some of those things with the task
yeah.
with AI. But again, I think we turn with, and this is just economy 101. It's going to get to a point where we're booming, and people are going to they're going to have to hire because they're going to need people to manage all the AI. And so I think that that's probably some of the things that they're talking about is that it will create more jobs long term. Right now, short term, it's painful because of the economy. And it's like, well, we can replace all these skills that are like kind of low level, low value skills with AI, like scheduling for staffing firms.
Hmm.
Why would we ever have a human being do that? That could just be tech. That could be AI.
Yeah.
Okay. Will we see the return of a scheduler in staffing? No, of course not. That's gone forever. But could you see a person being hired to manage agentic AI that's doing all the scheduling for all of the positions? Yeah, I can
Well,
see
look, I
that.
mean, you have an executive admin, right, an EA
Right.
managing calendars and meetings,
Right.
right? They didn't go away because it's already on the calendar, and I
Right.
get it, it's different, but it's kind of similar in
Right.
that respect. And look, just because we have an automated scheduler scheduling meetings, there's still, and I get it, we can still do the follow up, we can
Right.
still do all that stuff automated, um, but that doesn't always capture everything,
That's right.
nor does it convert from meeting to interview to sale or conversion, whatever industry you're in. So
It's
I
just
don't think it
quality.
goes away.
Even if you're hiring people, entry level people to go through and make sure that that quality is there, and making sure that the tech is doing what it's supposed to. So
Yeah.
you can kind of see again in a booming economy, in a hiring economy, you can see people being hired to make sure that the AI is just doing what it's supposed to. I mean, I do see what Gartner's trying to say. I do understand it. It's also a little cotton candy because it's what people want to hear. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not saying anything that's truly depressing. They're basically saying, no, no, in the future there's going to be more jobs.
But what's interesting though, if you play it out, so from who they surveyed, 40% of those companies had already eliminated what they're calling obsolete jobs, which traditionally are more entry level positions. So
Right,
let's just play that out. If more companies start doing that, 5 years from now, who are the senior people in those companies? So actually, what it's saying is AI could create the first job shortage. It could be self inflicted because
right.
we've used AI so heavily to automate at the more
Oh,
junior or
that's
entry level.
yeah.
Who do you then have to fill up those positions 5, 10 years from now?
Oh, that's
And
cool. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think what will be interesting if you watch it over time, and we're seeing it happening with our customers at the moment, but experience will not be a proxy for skill. And that
Right.
will reshape how people think about talent because experience has always been the proxy. Tenure, experience, there's been a career ladder. I don't think we have that ladder anymore with AI. So that would be the interesting shift.
I'll tell you what I'm keeping my eye on is AI that replaces senior executives. Like I had this dream last night. Um, the why don't we hire AI to be our politicians? Like why do we have human beings being our politicians? Like why?
You'll
If
get
it's a
probably get the
if it
same results.
But like they can't be bought by PACs. They can't be bought by, like in our situation in the United States, they can't be bought by lobbyists.
They can be trained.
Yeah, but the money doesn't mean anything to them. There's no, you know what I'm saying? Like that doesn't drive them as it would does a human.
Yeah,
So
but
why is
training
it?
would be the new currency on that, and they find a way to break through.
I don't think so. I really don't think so. I think because if the goal is to represent the people, that's the goal, then they would represent the people. And it wouldn't have all of the disease that comes with it.
So you want to go from replacing jobs to being run.
I want to have a president that's an AI bot. Yeah.
You know, I don't want to get too sci-fi, but my worry is the AI will have the same survival instinct humans have. And actually, I don't think that having humans on Earth is the best thing for AI. So my worry is their policies will not be in our best interest.
In this dystopian novel.
I'll leave it here as we wrap up. Nick, have you ever seen Subservience?
No.
You need to watch Subservience.
Tonight.
William made me watch it the other night. They say
Tonight.
make. He put it on. I watched it when we were away, and it's good.
Just watch it.
We just watched
It's a
it.
film? It's a series?
No, it's a movie.
It's a film. Yeah,
Okay.
it's on Netflix.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We won't talk about it here just yet, but I'll tell you what. You watch it, and then
then
next
come
time you
back.
come on,
Come back. We'll do a movie
we'll do a
review.
review up front for everybody.
You know what?
Yeah.
I'll make you a recommendation as well. We can give feedback. My recommendation, if you haven't seen it, Severance.
Oh yeah, I've seen the whole
I
series.
have not seen that.
I love it because it's so dark. It plays to my strengths.
Nice.
And it's kind of a story of Rupert Murdoch without being a story about Rupert Murdoch, if you will.
All right. So Nick, you watch Subservience. I'll
Yes.
start on Severance
Yeah,
Severance.
because he already knows it. And for the
It's
audience,
great.
we will see you next time.